What's going on YouTube? Alan here with DustyHikers.com. Today I'm going to be reviewing a shoe I've spent a month with and I've walked about 20 miles in, which is the Keen Targhee 3 Vent non-Gore-Tex. These are not Gore-Tex. Okay, first impressions. These shoes look horrible. I know Targhee, I think, is a really popular model with Keen, but I just don't like the styling look of them, and we'll talk more about that in a minute, but I think they're effective. So I know a lot of people really like these shoes, and I have to say, after a month, they've kind of grown on me. I was testing 5 shoes simultaneously for a month, so I walked like over 100 miles in a month, 20 miles on each shoe, and each day when I would decide, okay, this one I haven't walked as much in, so I need to choose those shoes. When it came to the Keen day, I would always kind of roll my eyes. Oh, I don't want to walk in those because they just don't look good on my feet. They're so wide looking, right? And I think this is kind of an older, dated design for a hiking shoe that some other companies that I tested a shoe from Salomon, from Danner, from Merrell, and from Oboz, and they kind of have more of a more modern looking, or 2021 styling on their hiking shoes. So that's kind of my first impressions. For me, it looks like a shoe that somebody named Wilbur would be wearing at the dessert table at a church potluck, wearing khakis and like a clip-on tie or something. It just doesn't look like something that a serious hiker would go hiking in, but I know these are hiking shoes, all right? Okay, I'm gonna stop bullying this shoe and tell you more about it. All right, the uppers. The uppers have this leather, okay, and they have a mesh. And so they're called the Targhee 3 Vent because there's kind of like a webbing here of the leather with the mesh, so there's a little bit more breathability. They're very thick shoes, right? So there's a lot of material there, a lot of padding. They have this, I don't even know what material that is, but it's not leather, this thing, but it's like a rand that goes along the side. And then in the back here, there's also some around your heel. And then they have this kind of, Targhee DNA, which is this thing where the rubber from the sole kind of comes up and curls over the top of your foot for protection of your toes, which, is Keen, right? When you see that, you know instantly that this is a Keen hiking shoe. All right, so that's the uppers. I think they're fine. They're comfortable enough. And again, after a month, these shoes actually started to not wear on me, but they started to grow on me. And I actually don't mind them now. I think they're fine. You're not going to have any complaints, right? You're not going to have any like foot complaints if you buy these shoes for hiking and go hiking in them. The midsole is okay, it's adequate. These were not the most comfortable shoes of the 5 shoes that I tested at all. And I think Keen's kind of known for being comfortable, but these were not the most comfortable. Again, it's not that there's something wrong with them, they're just not they don't have as much cushion on the inside of the shoe as I would have expected from a Keen Targhee, from what I knew about them. Every step makes an impact. The insole that comes in here is fine. It's not overwhelming, right? But it's not underwhelming either. It's not just a super thin ortholite. It's got a little bit of geometry to it to provide some arch support and things like that. All right, the outsole, the bottom of the shoe. These perform pretty well. One of the things I did in testing the 5 shoes is I tested protection, or like foot protection on trail. And so I stepped on a board that had some screws coming out of it and some rocks and a D4 die from D&D. And the Keens outperformed the other shoes as far as I was concerned. One of the reasons why is that this shoe and one of the other shoes that I tested, the Oboz Sawtooth 2, are what I call decapitated boots. So it's really like a hiking boot that they said, hey, this is pretty effective. Why don't we just make a low version as well and we can sell those? So it's got a boot feel to it when you wear it. There's just a lot of material here. Of course, it weighs a lot more than most of the other shoes that I tested because of that. But because of that beefy boot-like construction, there's just a lot more protection. When I stepped on rocks, instead of, kind of high centering and the shoes teetering like this, there's so much rubber and material down here that the shoe will kind of deform around the rock. So you still have some traction and some purchase on the trail, which I liked. So if you're transitioning like from a boot to a hiking shoe, this might be a more gradual, transition for you. Because some of the other shoes I tested, they feel like running shoes that have some extra features so that you can go hiking in them. These don't. You would not go running in these. These are hiking shoes. Or they could be good for the church potluck and the dessert stand. Okay, so fit. These shoes fit true to size. They were a tiny bit short, but not too short for my size 12. Even though they look super wide, they're not actually too wide. It's just that there's so much material there that like the edge material is thick. So they look super wide, but the toe box is not sloppy. I didn't feel like my foot was swimming around in there. So true to size, if you're a size, whatever size you are, these shoes are going to be fine. I have a normal foot. It's not narrow, it's not wide, and these shoes fit great. Break-in, there is a bit of a break-in with these. When I first got them, they were pretty rigid. I would say after 4 or 5 miles or less, I'd kind of broken them in. And now, as I said, after a month and walking 20 miles in these, I'm really starting to enjoy walking in them more. So I think for the other hiking shoes that I reviewed, these do have more of a break-in time, so you definitely would want to spend time in these shoes before you took them on a backpacking trip. Okay, so best use. I think these shoes are going to be fine for people that are backpacking. Maybe not a super heavy backpack, although there's a lot of material here and a lot of support, so that might even work. But certainly day hiking, you're going to be totally fine in these. There's a lot of protection, so if you're planning on going off trail, this could be a good option for something that's not Gore-Tex, that's a little bit more breathable, that's going to provide a lot of protection from rocks and brush and debris and things like that. Okay, that's my review of the Keen Targhee 3 Vent. I don't love them, but the more I wear them, the more I like them. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. You know what? It's just not going to happen. You're not getting in my luggage. I know a lot of people like you, but you're not coming to Italy with me. I'm really sorry. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine.